It's very difficult.
And Vinny, I can't tell you how fascinated I was with that conversation with Dr. Durkmatt, especially at the time when he said it takes a very long time to burn a body. It's incredible. If you just Google, people who tried to get rid of the body by burning the remains, you'll get about 20 results just from this year alone. We're only June, at least 20 results. So a lot of people try to do that. I think they fancy themselves forensic files experts. But the truth is, it doesn't happen the way they think it does or the way they've seen it on television. And in this particular case, if fire was an issue, it is entirely possible that that might be why only one set of the remains of the children is egregiously concealed, because it just may have taken too damn long and didn't work. And then plan B may have kicked in, and that's where perhaps they were just buried in whatever condition they were in at that point. It's a very distressing thought, but as you put the pieces together, this may be, Vinny, maybe why it's taking a long time to see any kind of charges against either one of these two, Chad and Lori.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if it turns out that this is what happened, such an aggravating factor. I mean, I think back to the case of the cheerleader from Ohio, Skylar Richardson, when she was first accused of burning the remains of her newborn. I mean, she was public enemy number one before that trial. Obviously, things turned out differently, but that was the headline, and that's what had people really, angry and upset and turned her into public enemy number one at the time.
Yeah, and not just her family as well. I mean, if you see the interviews with her parents, they say that it was their worst nightmare in so many different ways, because the entire country and all of social media just came down on them so hard. And I think that was sort of the country's pain in hearing that a newborn baby had been burned and then buried. And the truth of that case was ultimately very confusing, because the forensic anthropologist who had originally suggested that the remains of that newborn were charred withdrew that. And so during the trial, if you ask any of the jurors who decided not to render a guilty verdict for murder, they said that the case was too confusing, that the prosecutors didn't prove that she had killed and charred and buried that baby. And the charring of the baby, the burning of the baby was a really big deal to them. So in that particular case, the scientists decided that the remains hadn't been charred. In this particular case, we have yet to find out, but I keep coming back to that picture over and over in my head of the aerial shots of where the tent was, where they were digging for the remains, and the fire ring that is just yards away. And what is equally confusing to me, and I'm sure all of our viewers as well, Vinny, is that it is right on a public road. This is not a rural road that's not traveled. It's actually a busy rural road. And this is within yards of the view of anybody driving by day or night. It is just so confusing. Who did that? And what did they do to put those children underground? At what time of night did they have to conceal themselves to do it? And God forbid there was fire involved. When did that happen? God forbid those witnesses who saw the bonfires, I hope they didn't see what we're talking about. I hope they didn't see the burning of children without even knowing it.
A lot of unanswered questions, but obviously we are on top of it. Ashley Banfield, thank you so much.
Sure.
When we come back, Court TV exclusive interview with Chad Daybell's now former friend, Eric Smith. They shared a lot together, and then their paths sort of went in different directions. Well, he sat down with Chanley Painter for an exclusive interview. We'll show you that when we come back.